Welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio. A good bit of baseball today as the Rebels face the Vanderbilt Commodores tonight at some point in a 4-5 game there in Hoover, a double elimination game. The loser will play at around 1 o'clock tomorrow. The winner will play again really late at night tomorrow night. So we'll talk about that. The Ole Miss women's golf team competing for a national championship against Oklahoma State today. That tee off is around 3:30, I think, for the first matches. 4 o'clock on the Golf Channel for coverage of that, and then whatever else strikes our fancy over the next hour and a few minutes here with you on the podcast brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford. You want to download the Speed Pass Plus app to your smartphone. You use it, you earn points. When you earn points, you save money with all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi, including the Oxford Exxon, and then here locally. Take advantage of the lunch special, $5.69, 2 sides of bread, a 32-ounce drink, and more. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for our buddy Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is completely up to you. You can shop it around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do. And that's hop into a Clark Ford today. Did you hear that? What the hell was that?
I noticed that.
Was it a truck or something?
Yeah, it's a dump truck of some sort.
Good God.
One of those construction kind of things.
Oh, yeah.
You familiar with those?
Oh,
okay.
Big time, just a little bit. Anyway, 662-257-1900. Get the quote. Shop it around if you like, or do what I've done. Hop into a Clark Ford. You will not regret that decision. You'll love the product. You'll love the service. Corey and the people at Clark Ford want to be your car guy. They want to be your truck guy. They'll prove it to you when you make the call. 662-257-1900. Guest, join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters on the Square in Oxford. Be a great place tonight to go hang out, watch Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. I think the game before that's Georgia and Arkansas. You can watch that as well. Enjoy a burger, enjoy their appetizers, po' boys. Great beer selection, full bar, and then this weekend starting today, because today's Wednesday. This week flies by. Starting tonight at 5, Rafters on the Water is open. Opens at 5 o'clock Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then on Saturday and Sunday it opens at 11 a.m. Daiquiris, frozen margaritas, great views of the water, all of that at Rafters on the Water in Sardis.
So, coverage up of Ole Miss's win over Auburn last night. They finished overly terrible, around 11 o'clock, just after. It's been worse.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. The Lakers and Suns had 4 minutes left when I finished. Well, when that game ended, and then when I got through writing, the Clippers and Mavericks still had 6 minutes left.
Okay.
So I kind of watched that to wind down, and then I went to bed.
Okay. So Ole Miss wins 7-4 over Auburn last night, picking up its 19th SEC win of the season, counting the conference tournament. I felt like they're pretty locked in, barring something crazy. I still feel like they're pretty locked in, barring something crazy. From a straight, what does it mean standpoint, the game doesn't mean much more than Ole Miss will play a couple more games in Hoover at least, instead of inter-squatting or doing some different things back in Oxford as the week moves on. I know there's lots of glimmers of hope and different things for national seeds.
Feels sort of fantastical.
Well, I think there's only one spot left. That's the problem, is everybody quotes a lot of numbers, and I understand that. And I mean, 9 times out of 10, there are certain benchmarks that will equal national seeds in the SEC. Typically, that benchmark is 20 SEC wins, counting Hoover, gets you in a good position to be in that running. I think it's 30 of 31. And frankly, the one might be Ole Miss in 2009 when they did not. They went 20-10 in the SEC and were not a national seed. I think that might even be the one. But the problem is that it's not in a vacuum, and this SEC season is really weird. And at Ole Miss's record, it was the 6 or the 5 seed. Florida's right there, kind of around them. Even their RPI is worse than the Rebels. And you look around the conference, the country, Arizona's going to get one, Notre Dame's going to get one, Texas is going to get one. There's 4 teams in the SEC ahead of you that deserve one probably as well. Well, there's only 8. And when there are only 8, it becomes not about what you can do to hit a certain number, but what can you do to pass other teams. And when they come into Hoover and so many teams are locked in, just not a lot of wiggle room. I think there's one spot up for grabs. I think it's the one that Texas, TCU is in the running for. Texas Tech, TCU, Stanford maybe, and then Ole Miss. And I think that's kind of where it is. I think the Rebels would have to outlast and get a lot of push from a conference tournament. And here's the catch, too, and I don't know the answer here. I know different people would argue different ways. I think sometimes they like getting cute. I think sometimes they like being geographical with this. I'm not even sure that 2 or 3 wins in Hoover moves you from the 11 to the 14 or the 14 to the 10 to the 9 or anything else. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But if it doesn't, let's just play that theory out, then really, barring you winning the tournament to get a national seed, I don't know that any of this matters in any way whatsoever.
It's kind of what I think. They're not going to give 5 SEC teams a national seed unless, I guess, if Ole Miss won the tournament, which is another conversation entirely, which feels really premature to have today. But I guess if they won the tournament, that would mean 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 4 more wins.
I mean, that's a ton of SEC wins.
So that would get you at 23, right? SEC
at that
wins.
Point, yeah.
At that point, you probably get one. Now,
at that point, you are trying to steal states or Tennessees or someone inside the league. That's the problem. Is I don't know if they can steal anybody outside the leagues. So I don't know if there's any way Notre Dame cannot get one.
Right. So
I don't know if there's any way Arizona cannot get one.
So maybe if Tennessee got bounced 0-2, or State lost big today, maybe if State lost again tomorrow, maybe.
Tennessee State loser.
Yeah, but history says no. Yeah, Tennessee, and if Tennessee were to lose today to Alabama, it's 0-0 in the bottom of the first. So hard to make much of a verdict from what they've done so far today.
Are you guys quiet, or is the chat messed up? Seeing no feedback at this point, which I have never seen in our history of this program. So we're either really, really boring or we have a chat issue.
It's certainly possible that it's both.
It could be both. Yeah, I don't know. But just if somebody's out there, say something so I know it works.
Did you put the link on the board?
I did, yeah. Literally anything just to see what's going on, because that's a little weird. It was kind of freaking me out as we're talking. So you can talk.
I can talk.
So no one's talking, I guess.
Ginger's here. So it works. We were boring.
Never mind. I'm sorry. All right. Hello. Good to have you.
What was I saying? Oh, just kind of difficult to imagine that, but
thank you, Weasel. Something.
We'll see. Look, if they win tonight, if Ole Miss wins tonight, and then they win on Thursday, then I think it starts to become a conversation. Until then, it feels really premature to have the conversation. And I don't know that this team, one that is clearly built for a super regional, one that has a path in a regional, I don't know that it has a path on a Tuesday through Sunday tournament, other than just bashing other teams. But you do have to go get 27 outs in a game. And I don't know that they have the pitching to
that's
do that.
That's part of the conversation, too, is just unless they just score 15 runs a game, it's hard to envision how they get there from a roster standpoint. Broadway throws 7 outs last night. Nikhazy's pitched, obviously, until Sunday. I'm kidding.
I'd send him home.
And you mean literally?
I literally would send him home so that I wouldn't have that temptation later in the weekend. Totally serious. There's no way he'd pitch another pitch in this tournament if it were me. No chance.
And actually, I'm getting texts now that it was not allowing for a while.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, so. I know, Matt, I'm really upset. I had to get a wisdom tooth out, and that screwed up my bonefish experience. It ruined the ability to go get the catch of the day tuna over the weekend. But you know what? I mean, if they get to the finals on Sunday, you never know what could happen.
I can run to Kroger and get you
the catch of the day tuna.
I could.
Out of the frozen section for me. I've recovered faster than maybe people had said. I was told it could be a couple days, but I woke up this morning and was completely and utterly fine. I've had no pain medicine at all today. No ibuprofen, nothing.
Really?
I mean, I have a little bit of jaw soreness, but otherwise, it's like I didn't even have it. I will tell you, and it was kind of I don't mind being put to sleep. I kind of enjoy anesthesia, as dumb as that sounds. I've had a lot of it I've had a lot of surgeries. Like, whatever, there's no anxiety to it. But, and I know it's a very light anesthesia for a wisdom tooth, but I do remember a little bit of it and like I could feel pressure during it. I woke up and I was like, okay, I don't know that it hurt, but I definitely have like memories of feeling tons of like pulling out pressure in my mouth.
Well, that's not good.
I'm telling you, like, it kind of startled me a little bit. I was like,
I'd want to sleep through that.
Oh, I know. I mean, I woke up and I went, yeah, it didn't really hurt, but I don't know, like something. I think I definitely could feel like the prying it out of my mouth a little bit.
The jaws of life.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Rankin, I don't know what happened. I'm 37 years old. You think I would be past the point of a wisdom tooth situation? But about a week ago, I woke up one morning and had massive pain in that area. They actually had to do 2 X-rays to even see if the wisdom tooth was there. They couldn't find it, and it was half impacted and half not. So it was half coming out and half was still under the gum. So yeah, it a little bit of a problem, but we're all good. We're on the mend. We're moving forward. I'm glad it wasn't a 2 or 3 day process. Ben, stop. It's 12:48. Let's not go there today. Love you though. So anyway, this tournament matters for Georgia right now because they probably need another win or two. A win over Arkansas today would go a long ass way toward them getting into the tournament. But otherwise, barring someone getting to Saturday at least, these next games are just sort of in that process, but not meaningful in and of themselves. I don't think one win is doing anything for anybody but Georgia at this point in this tournament.
Can Alabama play their way in?
They can, but they better still get on the stick. I mean, it would
get to like Saturday or Sunday.
I would think they've got to make a pretty considerable run at this point. LSU's the one that I have no idea what the committee's going to do with.
Because they're out, right?
They lost yesterday to Georgia, and that was a tough loss. I think one win would have gotten them in. They're 13-17 in the league, so now they're 13-18 counting Hoover.
Ooh.
But their RPI is like 24.
So they're 3 somewhere.
Maybe. I mean, there has been precedent of that team not getting in before. LSU in 2011 had an RPI of 24, went 13-17 in the league, and did not get in. But this is where we talk about it's not in a vacuum. It depends on the year. It depends on the bubble.
Sure.
There are lots of conferences. I mean, including you would never imagine it, but Neal and I were talking about it, or I was talking to Neal about it right before the show. Fairfield is currently losing to Canisius. And
you never know when those two get together.
I know. Does that turn that into a 2-bid league, as dumb as that sounds? Because of this weird RPI anomaly that's going on in 2021, could Fairfield lose to Canisius and get a 3 seed in a regional? I have no freaking idea. But that would turn the MAAC into a 2-bid league. And if that were to happen, that would take someone's bid.
So you're saying Fairfield could end up in the NIT?
I could, yeah. Mark Etheridge used to actually do an NIT baseball bracket, and it fooled people every year. And it was really one of the funniest things. I think he called it the road to Quahog, like off Family Guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and every year it's like, hold on, what? It's like, it's because he always had like some stupid theme where if you get 2 paragraphs into it, you're like, okay, that's funny. So, yeah, I don't know. East Carolina loses to Memphis yesterday. Could the American have somebody get in that was not going to get in? I mean, so LSU's up to bid stealers a little bit at this point. I think South Carolina probably lost its hosting capabilities yesterday. They go 16-14 in the regular season. They lose that opening day in Hoover. However, I think there's a decent chance Old Dominion ends up getting a 1 seed, and it's possible that Old Dominion is the 1 seed in Columbia, South Carolina. So
I'm going to tell you this. South Carolina played yesterday. I was on the Peloton watching.
You didn't think they put a lot of effort into that
South Carolina played yesterday like a team that knew something.
You think so?
They interviewed the coach during the game, and he's like, yeah, we just want to get well. I mean, we're going to do everything we can to win this game, but...
You felt like he was winking a little bit as he said it?
I felt like he was winking a lot. We're going to do everything we can to win this game other than try to win this game.
I mean, Carolina's really bad in Hoover for whatever reason.
I did feel bad for the South Carolina catcher, though, because that pitcher was Nuke Lelouch all over the place. And that catcher was getting beat straight to hell. And he had to just be like, come on. I'll tell you this, that cat's hurting today.
Yeah. Carolina is not good enough, I don't think, to get through a ton. Like, they're fine, but...
No, they're fine.
They're fine.
They're fine. They're Chili's.
They're a 2 seed on most years, I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like they... Yeah.
They're not going to a super unless they catch a 1 that freaks out, which happens.
Or they host Old Dominion in their own park.
No, that would mean something too.
I mean, if you're Old Dominion, it's like, hey, you get to be the 1, but you get to go to Columbia. I mean, I guess so. It's better than being the 2 because you get to play the 4 first.
Yeah.
So there is an advantage to that.
Sure. Unless you play the 1-4 that's got a super ace.
Yeah. I don't think Chris Sale's walking through that door anytime soon. So Alabama off and running. Second, third, nobody out here in the second inning. So anyway, we'll continue talking baseball and more in a second. First, talk about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting. It understands your market, a leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE@communitymtg.com.
I just realized that I totally did the risk all last night. I had a running document up, and I never once saved it.
Really?
That would have sucked.
That might have sucked, yeah.
Because it was late.
That might have been just the hell with it moment. I mean.
Wow. I just realized it because it's like, do you want to save this? And I was like, did I not save it? I joined Coach Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels in the vault this season. Season ticket packages start at just $199 and can be purchased by visiting OleMissTix.com. That's OleMissTix.com. We're also brought to you by Landman's Fine Jewelry in Oxford. It's located at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard. They've been serving the Oxford area for 73 years. Actually, a little more than that. And from engagement rings to wedding rings to fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more, Landman's is the gold standard in fine jewelry. Visit them at landmansfinejewelry.com or call them at 662-23. I can't. This is crazy. My computer hates me. I jinxed it.
You were bragging on that thing so hard earlier when we were talking.
Well, I was just telling you, you need a beast, and this is why, because it's throwing a lot of stuff at you. I'll have to find it in a minute. Sorry. Okay. 662-234-2777.
Okay.
I think I know that number, 2777. It's pretty easy to remember. We're also brought to you by Comer Heating and Air. It's the name you can trust. They bring more than 50 years of professional HVAC experience to Oxford, Tupelo, and the surrounding area. You want to make sure that air conditioner unit is running in tip-top shape, and get in touch with the people at Comer, 662-801-1777. And we're brought to you by the College Corner, your one-stop Rebel shop, 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, it's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, just go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram.
Podcast also brought to you by Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com. Go to the events page, see what's going on locally this week and every week. As the Summer Sunset Series going to the Grove. That starts here in a couple weeks, the first weekend of June. You can have that concerts throughout the summer there on those Sunday nights. So take advantage of that and more. Visit oxfordms.com/events.
Got a little Vanderbilt baseball news for you. Carter Young will not play in this tournament. He's not on the roster. He's their starting shortstop. His shoulder issue will keep him out of the SEC tournament.
Well, that's interesting.
So, told you kind of the rumor around people who had been around Corbin is that he wouldn't mind hauling ass. They're a little beat up. Wouldn't mind getting well.
I mean, there's nothing they can do at this point.
No.
Because they can't get the number 1 overall seed either. I mean, they
Right.
are completely locked into where they're at.
Yeah, they're like the 2 or the 3 national seed. That's where they are, and that's where they're going to be.
Mm-hmm. No, I could see them
It's
just
like having the second pick in the draft, and the team that has the first pick says there is no deal you could give us to trade up. So at that point, you just start getting ready for the second pick.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they are. What I have been told is that they will throw Kumar Rocker tomorrow a little bit, and if they play on Friday or Saturday, they'll throw Jack Leiter a little bit.
But don't do anything to rock some boats. Just whatever happens, happens.
No, he's going to be smart.
Yeah. If you hang around, you hang around. But
The problem is kids are competitive. You put them on the field, and you give them a uniform, and you give them a glove, and you give them umpires, and one of the umpires yells, play ball, and at some point they do.
yeah.
And at that point, they do try to stretch a double to a triple because they're wired that way.
Mm-hmm.
The center fielder says, I can get this, and he runs square into a wall because he's wired that way. The left fielder has been told, hey, dude, don't dive. Don't dive. But the ball is right there, and he thinks, I can get it. And at that point, it's like telling a Labrador retriever, don't chase the Frisbee.
He's going to chase the Frisbee.
And so he dives, separates a shoulder, and now he's out for the month. And so coaches look at this thing, and there are different fans hate this because the fans go and they see the uniforms and they get excited, and it's a super fun event, and it looks cool, and Hoover does a great job with it, and all of that stuff. And before you know it, the fans are all jacked up. Well, guess what? That jacks the players up. And so coaches look at this and go, I don't know. I'll give Mike credit for admitting out loud that he likes it, that it's fun, that he enjoys the atmosphere. I have absolutely no problem with the South Carolina coach who goes, you know what? This just probably isn't the best idea for us right now. And if Tim Corbin essentially punts a couple of games, I don't blame him. Like if you're Dave Van Horn today and a ball gets hit to center field and Christian Franklin starts sprinting for it, you're like, on the list of outcomes here, on the outcome list from this is great for us to this is horrific for us, there's not much in the great range. You're the number 1 national overall seed. You can't fall out of that spot. I don't know how you get higher than 1. So anything that happens to you detrimentally from a health standpoint is just unnecessary.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think there's less chance of injuries happening inter squads versus actual games?
Yeah, because you can control inter squads. There are no fans there.
Yeah, the adrenaline's different.
There's the umpires are like hired guns that you've seen a million times. Yeah. You're not yelling at the umpire who misses a call.
You don't care.
Because that's just Billy.
Yeah.
There are no fans in the stands.
Yeah.
I think then you can tell the left fielder, don't dive for the damn ball.
And he won't dive for the ball.
And so when it's Leatherwood that hits it out there and you're like, hey, I'm good. I'll let it bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can control it. You tell a pitcher, hey, you're going to throw 55 pitches, and we really want to work on your curve today. Elko hits a single, and you're like, hey, you do know you're not running to first, right? Just chill. It's all good. Yeah, you can control it. You can't control. I mean, it was funny last night, but Ole Miss, to their credit, did the right thing. But, they had a situation where Elko walked to load the bases, and if I recall, it was with none out or 1 out. I'd have to go back and look at it. I've got it right here. I took notes. I'm going to say it was their big inning. Yeah, it was. It was in the third. So Bench homered, Gonzalez singled, Graham doubled, Gonzalez went to third. So Elko walked to load the bases with nobody out, and Chatney hit a ball that normally would be a double, and he had to stop it first because Elko just is station to station.
Yeah.
And they laughed about it and had a good time. And then Dunhurst flew out to center, Leatherwood flew out to center, and Baker hit a single that in a normal situation the runner at second would have scored, but the runner at second was Elko, so he had to stop at third, and they all had a laugh about it. And then he ultimately scored on McCants, got a walk.
Yeah, right.
So it all was funny, but, and that's the situation where guys could you control that better on Saturday if it's at home, just having a little 4-inning inter squad to get some work in, or as opposed to playing Arkansas in an SEC semifinal? Sure.
I was thinking about this last night. Is that exact sequence was happening? And I think Tim does enough to justify it. But analytically, how big does your bat have to be to justify a station-to-station runner who can't run? Because last night, they would have scored 2 times before he actually scored if it's any normal runner.
I asked myself last night if that's game 2 of a super regional, 3rd inning.
I know.
Do you take him out right there?
And,
it's easy in an SEC tournament to go, hey, look, we're cool, right?
Yeah, sure.
Everybody be cool.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if Ole Miss loses last night, it's just not that big of a damn deal.
Yeah.
You're hosting a regional, it's over, whatever.
You see where the guy from
you wonder about it.
You didn't see this. See where the guy from D1 Baseball was fairly high when he wrote his story today?
No.
And I think high is actually the word here, as bad as Eric Sorensen, who's been a nice guy. I've talked to him. Mostly a Pac-12 guy, so sometimes he has whatever. This is the paragraph, though, that Kendall and Aaron allowed on their site today. And I'm not done with the Elko thing, but I remember this, and I didn't want to lose it. So several people sent it to me because this makes no sense. 5 teams I'm keeping an eye on, okay? That's his subhead here of what he's writing. Again, this published today, May 26th.
Okay.
Number 1, Ole Miss. Of all the conference tournaments, Ole Miss is the number one team he's keeping an eye on this week.
Okay.
Playing in the SEC tournament as a 5 seed, worth noting, they are squarely on the bubble for a regional host spot. With this paragraph, the Rebels are not having to not only play a play-in game, which they won, but now they'll have to get past Vanderbilt and Arkansas on their side of the bracket. That's daunting. But the good news is since those teams have their fate sealed, motivation could be in the Rebels' favor. But having to play an extra game means they'll have to win 5 games or 6 if they lose one. No, you still have to win 5. That's the way the bracket works. To win the SEC title, and that might be the only way they get a home regional.
Wow.
Do we not have proofreaders at D1? Like, Kendall, Aaron, you're one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. But how does that get published on the Wednesday of conference tournaments when it's literally your biggest week of the year from a people reading your stuff content-wise? I mean, I don't know. I mean, no big deal. We screw up too. But, like, holy hell. So they could get to Saturday, get to Arkansas and Vanderbilt, get to 22. I'm not sure that's enough to host a regional.
Not to host?
Yeah.
Do you think he was thinking about super regionals?
I guess that's possible. But he did it like 3 times in the same paragraph.
That's got to get caught.
I mean,
when that's all you do is cover college baseball.
But even so, is that really the biggest storyline of all the conference tournaments, whether Ole Miss can make a run to a national seed?
No, not even close.
I mean,
on the list of potential storylines, like what Ole Miss does.
Yeah, you look at Ole Miss and go, ho hum, 9 through 16. Check.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
See you in Oxford next week.
I don't know that there is a truly compelling SEC storyline other than Alabama and Georgia trying to play their way into the tournament.
Yeah. That is right, Matt. It was either Baseball America or D1 Baseball that just screwed up and left La Tech out of their entire projections yesterday.
Well, Tech would have a beef if that happened.
That would be a problem. Yeah.
They would have a legitimate argument.
They're watching the show and it ends and go, hey.
I guess we're headed to Quahog.
So, I don't know. They also, Ole Miss, it was almost kind of funny because Ole Miss got what would absolutely be the toughest regional in the country had it happened. They had Wright State as their 4, which is they're really good, and Virginia as their 3. I mean, it might be like, hey, guys.
Who was the 2?
It was like I don't remember, but it was like some decent team. It was like Miami or somebody. It was like, whoa. So, I don't know. Anyway. Otherwise in Hoover, I don't have much. I mean, that's kind of where this thing's at. As you said, it's a really fun tournament. Anybody that's been, I mean, Hoover does do a fantastic job with it. So
it's great.
I understand how you get caught up in it. You just can't always get caught up in it.
It's great for fans because you can get in and out pretty easily. There's a ton of parking. There very rarely is like a big parking jam.
Yeah.
Park's big. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. Kind of feels, in some ways, it kind of feels a little old-timey, and at the same time, it's got a certain charm to it.
Yeah, it's not overly nice, but it's all right.
It's fine. It works perfectly for what they want.
You know, honestly, it might have been La Tech as the 2. Now that I say that, it was La Tech as the 2. It was La Tech, Virginia, and Wright State.
Tech's fallen off a little bit, but they're a legitimate team.
Oh, I mean, they still could easily be a problem for somebody as this thing winds its way through. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So I mean,
it'd be a lot of powder blue in one place.
It would be a lot of powder.
A lot of powder blue. Because Tech's embraced the powder blue pretty hard.
It looks fine.
It's a good powder blue. It's one of Adidas's better leave it alone, don't screw it up works.
But I like their royal blue.
Yeah.
Their royal blue's clean, kind of pops.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it at all. Tennessee didn't screw up their uniforms today. Tennessee went completely fine today. They're all white. This is a
solid uniform game.
They're all orange hat. Got Tennessee across, and a little bit of a weird font, but we'll forgive them on that one, on the front of the jersey.
I would have liked just the word Vols across on the all-white. It would have looked better. This is a really good road uni for Alabama.
Yeah, it's clean, it's sharp, and nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with it.
It's fine. Peyton throwing out a first pitch.
May the 14th. Vitello's done a really good job getting people excited there because they've had big crowds.
Have they really?
Yeah.
That's absolutely the worst park in the league.
Yeah, they've had big crowds all year. Fans have gotten into it.
I hope they
opposing teams talked about it like their fans were fun.
I hope they enjoyed Vitello. Hope they have a good time with him for however long.
You think he's gone soon?
Do you wait or do you take the A&M gig?
Ooh.
If he gets to you. I think he's 3rd on the list at A&M, and they've already been told no on their first choice. Because Tim Tadlock signing a literally lifetime contract means A&M offered Tim Tadlock the job in College Station. That didn't come just apropos of nothing.
No, of course not.
They're going to try to get Schlossnagle. We'll see what he says. And I think Vitello's next.
Huh. I don't know.
Do you take A&M? I mean, it's not about is it a better job than Tennessee. The answer is yes.
Yes.
That's not the question.
The question is, can I get the LSU job?
Or can I get the Arkansas job in the next 3 years?
Well, yeah, how much longer is he staying? Is he going to Saban this thing, or is he getting out of there?
And am I for sure getting it?
Because the feud hurt him a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
A little bit.
Sure.
It appears that it did.
Yeah, sure. And can I win at Tennessee long enough that it doesn't really matter and I can wait it out? Am I having a flash in the pan, or am I can I be a consistent 35 to 40 win team at Tennessee?
I don't think it's a flash in the pan, but there's only so many games as we see every year. I mean, everybody can't win 19.
No. This is a weird year where everybody's winning 19. This does not typically happen.
I mean, everyone won 19, but like Auburn.
I mean, Auburn started 2-13.
Yeah. I mean, they're better than that.
Yeah. A&M's not always going to suck like this.
Auburn might very well be the best, whatever it was, 25 and 27 team in history.
Yeah.
I mean, they're solid.
They're fine, yeah. Ryan Bliss can play for me every day.
He's terrific.
He got robbed on SEC, first team All-SEC at shortstop. I know the kid at Tennessee got it. Ryan Bliss is the best shortstop in this league.
The number 3 hitter for them, good hitter.
They're fine.
No, they're good.
Their lineup is not deep. They fall off after like
Carson,
and
the
then
kid who came in yesterday. I think he opened the 4th for them. Yeah, Carson Skipper came in the 4th. Ole Miss looked like they were poised to blow that game open, and
he shut it down a little bit.
That dude was throwing 96.
Yeah.
Well, they had some weapons.
Yeah, Owen had a pretty rough day. He didn't look very good in the start, but
he got hit hard.
Yeah.
They hit every mistake he made.
Yeah.
Ole Miss has a good lineup. So, I don't know.
I don't think – long story short, I don't think I take A&M. I think I hold steady in Knoxville.
Because they'll pay him in Knoxville.
Oh,
yeah.
I think I stay. Now, I say yes to LSU if they call.
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
If you think you're out at Arkansas, do you take the A&M? Because then our choices are getting limited at that point.
I start thinking about it really hard.
Now, okay, do I need to just get out and get one?
Might be what I have to make. I got to have somebody make a call. Hey, what's up?
Your Cliff, you bounce for A&M?
Yes.
Yeah, it's time to go ahead and do it, right?
You're at East Carolina.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
You've already turned down 3 of them.
I know. But that's a potentially good job.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I mean, there's more players in the Houston market alone than
No, Ross will not approach Mike, Anthony.
No.
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 Let's just leave it there. Not getting into that one today.
No.
No. It's not a thing.
I mean, I can think of 50 names.
Yeah. Including the guy in the other dugout last night.
Yeah, I can't think of 50 names, but I could find them.
Butch sounded depressed when they did the in-game interview with him last night. He did not sound like he was in a very good mood. Butch has had a rough year. He was.
Well, I suspect their season in a nutshell was the one time that it looked like they sort of had Nikhazy on the ropes.
Yeah.
And Bliss was up with the bases loaded and he swung at a pitch out of the zone. Probably was like, I'm sure what went through his mind was, yep.
Well, it's kind of what he said, because they said, what do you have to do to get past Nikhazy or whatever? And he goes, I don't know, get him out of the game, pitch count. And then he said, well, that was a moment right there. He goes, it was right after the Bliss strikeout. He was like, hey, that was the moment.
Yeah, they had a moment in the 5th because
it's like 2-on with Bliss up, and they cut it to 5-4 or something, right?
Yeah, Nikhazy struck out the first 2 hitters, then he walked LaRue, gave up a little infield single to Ward. That Farquhar, who actually
hit
had
the
a
ball
pretty
in
good
the
game,
gap.
He had an RBI single, and then Bliss struck out.
Yeah.
That was kind of their moment.
Yeah, that was right. But we started that thing, and Kyle Peterson was trying to do the ultra-positive Pollyanna thing. It was like, hey, Butch, you fought there at the end, found a way to Hoover. You're really proud of your team. Butch was like, yeah, it was awesome. That was great.
No, being the 12th seed in Hoover was not the preseason goal. No. I mean, I'm not going to go kill anybody, but no.
Like Jesus. Anyway. I don't know. All right. Let's see. I'll tell you about Northeast Spark, NESPARC.com. Service people across rural communities. 2 packages, the Ignite package, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. That's NESPARC.com. 662-238-3159. They have phone service available as well as parental controls, network security, wireless mesh extender, and more. Again, that's 662-238-3159.
Also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust, which is home to the Pinnacle Trust 401k advisory services team, where they'll conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. Just get in touch with them at pintrust.com, PINNtrust.com. Also brought to you by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you're thinking about booking a vacation for the summer that you want to be one that creates a lifetime of unique benefits, unique memories, I should say, get in touch with John. He can hook you up with all sorts of deals, all sorts of specials that you're not going to find on your own. Just give him some parameters, give him a budget. He'll do the rest. 901-494-3387. Or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first book trip, by the way, just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. Also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, look no further than Grenada Nissan. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. And we're brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB offers its customers the absolute best cash checking account. It's called Kasasa. And with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000. Refund ATM fees nationwide. Live Oxford, bankoxford.com, or call 662-234-6668. And we're brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors. She sponsors my mailbag, which is up on the site. Whitney serves you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. She sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844.
So it will be over before most of you guys hear this from a podcast standpoint, but Ole Miss women playing for a golf national championship this afternoon, 4 o'clock on the Golf Channel. I think tee time started at 3:30. The Rebels were the number 4 seed after stroke play, beat Texas 3-2 yesterday morning, and then beat Arizona 3-2 yesterday afternoon. Been asked a couple times for thoughts, and I mean, obviously you don't want to get into minutia of a match that's going to be over before most people listening, but just from a program standpoint, I've said this a lot. I've written it, I've tweeted it, and I mean, full disclosure, both coaches are friends of mine, but the job Corey Hankins has done is almost impossible to quantify. They were not just the worst program in the league, but they were the worst program in the league by a wide margin, with the worst facilities in the league. It was, I know it's women's golf, but it was really, really bad. They'd only finished in the top half of the SEC tournament one time, and they had never made the national championships at all. They had made regionals a few times and never had a top 10 finish. And now in year whatever it is under Corey, they've made the national championship 3 years in a row. Now they've made match play for the first time and now playing for a national championship. And frankly, without their second or third best player, because Ellen Hume only played one round of stroke play, and she's been out for most of the year with kind of a bicep shoulder injury, something like that. So I don't know. It's just it's really cool. The work they've done. They have a lot of great stories. Julia Johnson, great stories. I wrote about a couple weeks ago. Kennedy Swan transferred from Clemson, tried to reinvigorate her career, and I think her match today is the one that will probably decide this thing. She plays the start girl for Oklahoma State, who's their best player in the opening match tonight. The freshman that yesterday clinched the thing for Ole Miss against Texas. I don't think she even showed up until January. I think she's a first semester freshman that shows up and is in that spot there. Wow. in Ellen's spot in the lineup. So a lot of good stories, really neat team, and for Ole Miss, I think it's their first, from an NCAA tournament standpoint, it would be the first ever national championship in school history. Because they have the football championships from the 60s, but those aren't like a tournament, obviously. It's the first time Ole Miss has played for a national championship as a team since 1995, when the men's tennis team lost to Stanford in the NCAA finals. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing that's going on from a school standpoint here for Ole Miss. Just by making the Final Four, they get to go to Eastlake in the fall and defend the Eastlake Cup. It's kind of the fall national championship, if you will, for men's and women's golf. But they've got a shot today. Oklahoma State was ranked 7th coming into the tournament. Ole Miss was ranked 5th or 6th. Something like that. As storied as Oklahoma State is in men's golf, it's actually the first time their women's team has ever made match play as well. So this is two kind of newcomers coming into this thing. But I don't know. It probably. I know we'll ask Corey this. We'll ask Zach this later. I actually want to get Zach on the podcast because he played college golf with Dustin Johnson at Coastal Carolina. He was on the roster with DJ at Coastal. But I would think that even one tournament like this can elevate them from a recruiting standpoint. I mean, definitely whatever tournaments they want to get in, they're invited at this point, even if that was already not the case. So I don't know. From a human interest standpoint, Neal and I talked about this a few weeks ago. A program that wants to be as helpful as possible with coverage, a program that does have a lot of good human interest stuff, a lot of good personalities, people willing to open up about themselves. It's just an overall pretty neat thing as they play at 4 o'clock today. So.
Sure, of course. Anytime you get to play for a championship, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Especially when it kind of comes out of nowhere and one of the people that builds it just takes a visit and decides that's where I want to be. And calls and says, "Do you have room for me?" And
yes, we do actually. Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
We'll make that work. Because I mean, look, Julia Johnson tweeted about it last night. Julia Johnson told me when I talked to her for the podcast for the story that she's like, I hate how we get called scrappy. I just want to be called good. I think now they finally will just be good. They've been Cinderella for a long time here the last couple of years as they've sort of pawed up. But
listen, the media will let you take a narrative out of their cold.
They can win 3 of these in a row and still hate those scrappy Rebels, I tell you.
Well, I mean, Gonzaga.
That's a good point.
I mean, Gonzaga basketball.
They've been around for a minute.
The media still sometimes, just the little engine that could. It's like, no. They recruit the best players in the country
they're
now.
Actually a big tank rolling right down Main Street is what they are. It's like Tiananmen Square here.
Yeah,
like we're
exactly. That engine was gone a long time ago, bud. But they do. They do it all the time. But anyway, it's
cool.
It's a really cool story.
Yeah. So 4 o'clock today for the Golf Channel for that. Work cut out. I mean, it feels like Kennedy and Julia probably have to win their matches, and you find one more, but who knows?
For people like me who don't watch a lot of golf, how does this work?
All right. So 5 players for each team are on the course.
Okay.
Playing straight match play. Like if I have a 3 and you have a 4 after one hole, I go 1 up.
1 up. Got it.
Okay. Everybody understand that to some extent?
With you.
Okay. Each match is worth 1 point.
Okay.
3 out of 5 points wins the national championship.
So it's that simple.
It's that simple.
So there's no scramble or any of that. It's just
it literally 5 people play 5 people from the other team, and whoever wins 3 matches wins the title.
So kind of Davis Cupian.
Exactly, Davis Cupian.
Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
you're coming into a finals day of singles at the Ryder Cup. I mean, Ryder Cup's what you meant, not Davis Cup. But either way, we knew what we're talking about.
Well, I meant tennis Davis Cup.
Yeah, either way. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. You're coming into the final day, 5 matches. You win more than they win, and you win it. I mean, 'cause that's what Ole Miss was. They were down against Texas 2-1. The final 2 matches were both in extra holes, and they had to win them both to advance. I mean, the freshman, the girl that only came in January, she had the shot of the season for the Rebels no matter how they finished. She gets up and down from about 95 yards after hitting the ball in the water, and she was crying as she hit the ball. She had freaked out emotionally when she hit the ball in the water. She thought she had just lost the whole season for her team, and then steps up and hits it to about 4 feet from 95 yards, makes the putt to get up and down, and continues the season. It's pretty heady stuff there. I mean, because she made a colossal mistake and then made up for it immediately. And I mean, because she's over the ball, and I'm kind of in my head going, "Hey, Corey's got to really calm her down right here. There's no way she's gonna pull this off." And she did. She hit one hell of a golf shot and made the putt, and kind of moved on. And they've run through some titans here. I mean, you look, Texas is a national program from basically every sport, but women's golf. Arizona won the 2018 national title. They're definitely not a little engine, even though they were in the 8 seed. And the Pac-12 dominates this. The Pac-12's won like 5 of the last 6 women's golf national championships.
Sure, makes sense.
Duke is the only non-West Coast team to have won one in like the last 5 or 6 years. So I don't know, 2 upstarts with Ole Miss and Oklahoma State, but yeah, it's a very easy watch. It's a fun watch, and it's easy to understand. So it's not a bad television product. I like that they have it on the West Coast to give you some prime time with it, where people can kind of get off and watch it a little later in the day as it
It's in Scottsdale.
Through. It's in Scottsdale. Yeah, Greyhawk Golf Club is where it's at. They're good. They've got other girls coming in. I think it's a program that will continue to be pretty good as they move forward. Pretty fun to follow. So, yeah, 4:00 for that one. I don't know. Yeah, sure. Let's see what else we got, Neal.
NBA playoffs going on.
They are.
So we are witnessing, if you don't follow the NBA, the potential for one of the worst trades in NBA history coming to fruition. When it was made, nobody thought it was the worst trade in history.
Okay.
The Clippers, who essentially traded their future for Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Okay, they signed Kawhi Leonard to a free agent deal, but only on the condition that they trade for Paul George. The Thunder knew it, and the Thunder fleeced them. Okay. In that trade, the Thunder got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, young former Kentucky player,
I remember.
Emerging as a young NBA star. And they got basically all of the Clippers' first-round picks for the next 5 years.
Okay.
Specifically, they got the 22, 24, and 26 first-round picks and the 23 and 25 first-round pick swaps, which is as simple as this. If the Clippers have the 4th pick and the Thunder have the 25th pick, they trade. And the Thunder get the 4th pick and the Clippers get the 25th pick.
Okay, sure.
The Clippers lost again last night. They're down 2-0 to Luka Doncic and the Mavs, a team that they tanked so that they could play them. Okay? They're down 2-0 to Luka Doncic and the Mavs in a 7-game series. So unless they win 4 of the next...
And the first 2 were in
LA.
Yeah.
In front of all the cardboard fans.
Okay.
And they'll have real fans in Dallas.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So unless they can win 4 of 5, including 3 in Dallas, their season is going to end without a Western Conference Finals, obviously without a title, and there's growing scuttle that Kawhi Leonard, who is a grass is always greener sort of guy, that Kawhi Leonard's going to bolt. He's going to opt out, and he's going to bolt. And that this team will have no picks to build around. They'll have Paul George, who, God love him, not the most reliable piece to build around. Ask the Pacers, ask the Thunder, and now ask the Clippers. An aging roster, huge payroll, and the Thunder owning all of your picks for the next 5 years.
Okay.
The pressure on the Clippers right now is immense, and they, for the second game in a row in the fourth quarter, folded.
So do you think they pull it out, or do you think they lose?
I think they're done.
You think they crash?
Here's why. The best player on that floor, if you're watching, the best player on that floor is Luka Doncic. Mm-hmm. And he's got this really nice surrounding cast right now. Dorian Finney-Smith is playing well. Tim Hardaway Jr. is playing well. They're getting just enough out of Kristaps Porzingis. Brunson, the point guard, is playing well. He's got a supporting cast around them, and then Rick Carlisle is coaching circles around Tyronn Lue. It's a disaster for the Clippers. It's one of these series that no one's talking about it right now because the NBA is so Laker-focused. Mm-hmm. But in a few years, I think it's very possible people look back and go, oh, my God, that Paul George, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and picks trade is the worst trade in NBA history.
To get that marker, there have to be titles on the other side of it somewhere, though, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, but like what you don't know with the Thunder, so that's 5 picks.
Yeah, what does it turn into?
What does it turn into?
Yeah, sure.
But if you're the Thunder, you're sitting there looking at it and you're laughing all the way to the bank right now. Because if you're the Thunder, the Clippers look like they could suck. And if they suck, you get the benefit from their sucky.
Sure.
Which lets the Thunder start to play with the idea of going faster in a rebuild. Because you no longer have to worry about whether your pick sucks if you know the Clippers' pick's going to suck.
Yeah. You've always got that safety
You've got
valve
that,
there.
and you've got the Rockets pick, which is unprotected fairly soon because of the Westbrook trade. It's really fascinating to look around the league and to see this happening. But it's that karma thing. When you see a team go, hey, you know what? We don't really want to play X. And in this case, we don't want to play the Lakers. So let's avoid the Lakers. We're either going to play Portland or we're either going to play Denver or Portland or Dallas. Let's just avoid the Lakers. Mm-hmm. And then you draw the Mavs? Did someone tell them Luka wasn't going to play? And then that's the other thing.
Because he can make things happen by himself.
For the second year in a row, and now he's a year older, and he's playing with a little bit more maturity. For the second year in a row, he is stepping his game up in the postseason, which is what great players do.
Can Dallas build around him enough for titles?
Sure, he's good enough. You put one dude with him,
okay.
One dude.
That's enough.
Yeah. People do this thing with Luka because he's white. They only compare him to white players. He's so Magic Johnson-ish to me.
So he gets like Dirk comparisons because he's a Dallas white dude.
Gets compared to Dirk a lot, and they're totally different players.
Yeah.
Although they're similar in European style.
Sure.
But Luka's a point guard.
Is there anything else compelling from a series standpoint that you're interested in right now? Like, I don't see the Memphis actually carrying this through. I don't.
Well, so Memphis plays with house money. Is it tonight? Yeah, tonight against Utah. It's house money because they're up 1-0. And Donovan Mitchell's furious at the Jazz because they didn't let him play in game one. He hadn't played in weeks. I mean, if you're Memphis, it's an opportunity here.
Yeah, tonight it's Wizards at Sixers. Sixers up 1-0.
Yeah, they're too good.
Hawks at Knicks. Atlanta up 1-0.
It's going to be a really good series. Neither team's a competitor, but it's a really fun. If you just want to see a fun series, it's a good one.
What seeds are those?
4-5.
Oh, that's the 4-5 game?
Yeah.
And then Memphis up 1-0 at Utah. That's a 9 o'clock tip tonight on TNT.
Yeah.
So
free shot. Friday night will be, I think it's Fridays. It's either Friday or Saturday, FedEx Forum. I think it's Saturday, actually.
It's Saturday.
Will be awesome.
Yeah.
As long as they keep it social.
8:30 p.m. on Saturday night.
But just 57% capacity because you just never know.
57?
Yeah, you just never know.
Hang on, how'd they get to that number? Science?
Are you really going to question science?
I'm just curious. 57 is a very precise number.
Well, this is a very precise virus. You don't want to be the guy that pushed it to 58% and watch just chaos.
You're patient zero at that point.
You are.
I mean, I was really worried in the golf thing yesterday. They let all of them hug each other. They had a lot of, it was contact and things.
I did see the girls, run to the green. And
yeah.
I didn't see, they weren't masked.
It's the thing that, and I mean, I don't mean this sexist at all. I know we have several females in our league. I actually find this funny, but I find it different, on what's kind of acceptable a little bit, is that Kennedy Swan's the worst one about it for Ole Miss, and in a positive way. I'm not criticizing, but all the teams do it. Like when they win holes, if one of their teammates are behind them on the tee box, they'll turn around and wave and hey, I got this one. Hey. Guys did that, you would have a brawl by the 12th hole. Every time you beat me in a hole and you turn around and start saluting to your teammates, at some point I'm going to get hot. We're going to have a little bit of a problem. And yet, Kennedy would win the hole, turn around and go. And I'm I don't know.
But it's kind of really where women are the superior sex, right? I mean, they just kind of are. I mean, they really are. If I tell you a bunch of teenagers went and did something stupid,
and you give me nothing else,
and I say that's all I tell you,
yeah,
you go, it was guys.
Oh, 100%
every time. And here's the truth: 99.9.
I mean, not even thinking about it.
If I tell you, hey man, these 20 teenagers did this really stupid thing late last night at the beach.
Oh, what did he do? What did they?
Yeah, and that's all I tell you. And someone goes, okay, Chase, you get to decide. It was all one sex. You're going to go, it's guys. And 99 out of 100 times you're right. Maybe more than that. Yeah, you never see a softball game, for example.
Yeah.
You never see a softball deal where oh, she pimped that home run. I'm going, we're headhunting on this next one.
Yeah, this is about to get.
It never happens.
And they celebrate like mad.
They go crazy. They do all sorts of stuff.
They cheer on strikeouts.
Oh, they do dances in the dugout and stuff like that, and nobody ever gets super offended. Meanwhile, in a baseball game, I mean, I saw someone on the Ole Miss board last night say that Bliss pimped that home run. I'm like, no, he didn't. He ran straight out of the box. But the point is that everybody's just
on edge because
it's all the. That's the way we're wired.
I just started cackling as I'm watching you today. I said, you do nothing but make these men instead of women with the actions exactly the same. I was like, we're brawling by like number 8. Like
Fernando Tatis stands and looks at one, and like Dunhurst.
Yeah.
Dunhurst. I mean, the one he hit against Vandy, that was pimped. My God.
The umpire had to move him.
Yeah. I mean, the umpire in his mind was going. It reminded me of that scene in For Love of the Game when the umpires, whether it's Ben Scully or Steve Lyons says, Fred, whatever the umpire's name.
Yeah.
He's worried about, keeping control. That umpire was like, "Oh my God,
please move, please walk,
I don't make enough money for what's coming. I don't get paid enough for what's coming
because somebody's about to get thrown out here."
And sure enough, right? I mean, Vanderbilt's like, you cannot look at your home run that long. We're throwing at your head. Yeah, that doesn't happen in a girls' game.
No, it does.
I mean, I've watched boys' soccer games, youth league, where they start getting worked up in the collisions at midfield. You're like, hey, someone needs to break the pads out. That doesn't happen in girls' games.
No.
They cheer and stuff, and it's all good.
It's a game.
And in many ways, and I'm sorry, in many ways, that is revelatory of them being the superior sex, and you can say what you want. I mean, I concede that. Yeah.
Podcast brought to you in part by Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy. G&M 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area. They also offer MedSync, free prescriptions the same day each month, and take care of you, whether it be one trip to the pharmacy or one delivery. You have the medicines you need when you need it. So find out all the ways your community pharmacy can help you out. Again, that's G&M in Oxford or Tyson Drugs on the Square in Holly Springs, 662-236-2222.
We're also brought to you by the law firm of Bain, Moss, and Bowen, located in historic downtown Corinth, Mississippi. Their firm practices a wider range of law, from DUI defense to car wrecks to representing government entities. It's the only firm in Mississippi that is made up of a state legislator, a former assistant district attorney, and a former circuit court judge. Their experience is unmatched in that regard, and you can tap into it by calling them at 662-287-1620 or seeing them at 618 East Waldron Street in Corinth. Alpha Specialties sponsors this show as well. They're located at 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. They are your trailer-specific professional. If you want to haul it, they can call it at Alpha. They've got Load Trail. They also have Hallmark cargo trailers. They can even work with third parties to have game day trailers and concession trailers built just for you. For podcast listeners, Alpha has spare tires and wheels starting at just $100. They also do all types of truck accessories, and they can repair all types of trailers: concession, horse, utility, enclosed, gooseneck, RV, and more. It's 601-932-9798, or check them out at alphaofms.com. We're also brought to you by The Rogue. The Rogue is your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylist hand-select pieces from top designers, from work to lifestyle to nightlife. They've got the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. All the best items from Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Halsey, True Grit, and more. 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or therogue.com. You can also call The Rogue at 601-362-6383. And we're brought to you by Joey Erickson, Hair and Gear Chevrolet. Let him help you find the vehicle you're looking for at a price you can afford. Choose from a full selection of new Chevy vehicles or get a great deal on numerous brands of reliable pre-owned vehicles. Give Joey a call or text on his cell, 662-571-2367. Tell him what you're looking for, or stop by 1685 High Street in Jackson to test drive that new or used vehicle you've been wanting. Let him earn your business, and be sure to tell him that you heard about this ad on the Oxford Exxon Podcast or the Soft Verbal Podcast, and with any purchased vehicle, you'll get a $50 gas card.
So for those that do care about these charity weird matches, Phil Mickelson will team up with Tom Brady again in another match against Aaron Rodgers, and Bryson DeChambeau is the next one, wherever that's at. That is July 6th. So Moonlight Basin in Big Sky, Montana is who will host this event. Tom Brady began his marketing for this event by making memes of the Brooks Koepka Bryson DeChambeau video that's been floating around the last couple of days, including one that really hit home. He over DeChambeau's face, he put Packers kicking a field goal in the playoffs, and then put Aaron Rodgers on Koepka's head in
that's
in that
funny.
one. So, yeah, it was good. He had several. That was my favorite.
You can tell Tom's won a little bit and just doesn't give much of a damn anymore.
No, he's fine on the internet doing whatever he would like to do there. Does the little feud between the two of them actually bring more normal sports fans into golf at all? Or do they not compete against each other directly enough for it to matter?
Well, I think you have to pair them up.
The PGA Tour would have to promote it.
Yeah.
Which they...
You can put them together. First round of the U.S. Open.
Let's see what
Here,
happens.
Thursday, y'all are together. Go. I'd watch.
I wonder if Brooks is pissed the video got out or glad the video got out.
He told the guy he didn't care.
Well, yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
That was licensed as far as I'm concerned.
Because it was pretty organic. I mean, he hears it and he goes, oh,
Well, I think if he tells the guy, hey,
no, come on.
scrub that,
They'll scrub it.
he would have scrubbed it.
Of course. They protect their players.
Yeah. Because the guy was like, let's just start over. And he goes, I just don't care. Do what you want. At that point, the light went off. Like, well,
I know what's going on Twitter tonight.
are you sure, Mr. Koepka?
Because it was real disdain. I mean, there was no acting there. I mean, in Brooks is kind of whatever. But
Yeah, that's a coach saying, I hate that son of a bitch.
yeah, I mean,
Are we on the record? Yes, we are on the record.
Yeah.
How fast can I type?
Mickelson winning at 50. Does it mean, is it a Tom Brady type thing where somebody can take care of their body and beat Father Time, or does it more prove that golf is more of a skill than a sport? Or both?
I mean, look, a 50-year-old's not winning an NBA title.
No.
But
a 42-year-old won a Super Bowl title. That's my point. Like,
Yeah.
I get they have different ratios, but what does it mean?
I mean, it's totally a compliment to Mickelson. It's the quote that he gave about, how did you do this? I worked harder.
Mm-hmm. He's in the best shape of his life.
I worked harder on my body so that I could practice more.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked harder on being mentally disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm Phil's age. Like 6 months difference.
Yeah.
And I kind of know what he means. Like, sometimes I'm just like, screw it, man. What difference does it make? I'm going to die in 20 years. I mean, you kind of get that way. I mean, like, something doesn't, I'll fight that. Like, if I'm going for a run, I'm like, this is the day I'm supposed to go run 8 miles, right? And I'm 5.5 miles into the run, and my foot's kind of hurting, and I'm like, why am I doing this? My wife thinks I'm an idiot. Everybody around me thinks I'm an idiot. Nobody cares if I'm 5 pounds overweight. Screw it. You fight that. When I was 30-something, I didn't have that. I'm going to do this. In fact, I was going to run an extra mile. So I get what he's saying. No, it's a total changes his legacy completely. On that course with the wind and all these young dudes who they all look like a gazillion dollars. I mean, nothing against Jack Nicklaus, because I know he was the greatest, right?
But today's players are in so much better shape.
Yeah, but there's no Craig Stadler on the tour today.
No.
Like, there's a bunch of guys on the tour back then. Like, look at Nicklaus when he was 46. I mean, he was in shape and stuff, and he was a great golf player, but you don't look at Jack Nicklaus at 46 and go, that dude's buff.
Yeah.
He was fine. And he's a great golfer.
You have average-looking golfers, but you can also run out the best players in the world and go, hey, they're just kind of athletes, Koepka and DJ and those guys.
Well, sure, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys, there's a reason they wear all the tight stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because they spend hours in the gym and they have personal trainers. And, yeah, for him to do that at almost 51 years old,
mm-hmm.
Sure, it's a remarkable accomplishment. It speaks to his greatness. It also is the reminder, I mean, had there not been a Tiger Woods, what the hell does Phil do?
Mm-hmm.
Does he win 15?
Yeah, you are. You're talking about a whole different.
I mean, like Alidar says hello, right?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, if Affirmed wasn't out there, he wins the Triple Crown. He's one of the great horses of all time. So, I mean, I think what it did for Mickelson is it made you reconsider his greatness. Like, no one questions Tiger Woods' greatness. No one. Like one of the questions in my mailbag today was if he didn't have the nickname of Tiger, if he was just Eldrick Woods, would he? Yeah, he'd still be.
Tom Jones was getting the same pub.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady doesn't have like a fancy name.
Yeah.
If Tom Brady's name was like Colt Brady, we'd be like, it's pretty cool. But
yeah.
I mean, no, Tom's good. If Kobe Bryant's name was Bob Smith, we'd still be talking about it. Damn, Bob Smith was a killer. No, he's great. It speaks to his greatness. It does. One of the things that I thought about watching it on Sunday, and I think I represent more of the golf crowd than people want to give me credit for, was, dude, how good would this guy have been? Because the only guy that was better than him for the better part of a decade consistently was Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
Had Tiger just not come along at that time.
97 to 08, he crushed Phil over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, and he was the only one crushing Phil over and over and over again. And it made Phil, I think it got in Phil's head, and it made Phil take chances and do the whole thing of, hey, I'm the
swashbuckler, if you will.
Yeah, it made Phil's own worst enemy, because the other day, and look, I don't know much about golf, but I did read a lot about it because I find Mickelson to be really interesting and I like him a lot.
Yeah.
The other day, he played fairly conservative. Where there were a couple moments where he's like, hey, you know what? This is probably a bogey. Let's make sure it's a bogey and not a double bogey.
Yeah.
Let's make sure it's not a snowman.
Yeah,
let's be smart. Well, that's not really his reputation. His reputation is, I'm going to bash balls today, or whatever his term was. I'm going to launch balls. Hit bombs, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to be the Javi Baez on the golf course. And there are days when being the Javi Baez on the golf course is like, holy shit, did you see how far that ball went? And there are days when you're Javi Baez and you're like, why are you swinging at every curve in the dirt, man?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, chill. How good would you be if you had plate discipline? I think that was always the thing with Phil. And, well, you kind of saw it the other day. And, and none of this is all Tiger's fault. And obviously I'm not referencing the car wreck. But, like, Tiger's body didn't hold up to 50 the way that Phil's did. Car wreck notwithstanding, the back and some of the issues that he had. Yeah, it does speak volumes for Phil Mickelson's dedication to taking care of himself. I think it completely changes the narrative around his legacy.
He's shown up at majors with some semblance of an ability to win for 30 years. 30. Tremendous. It's amazing. We'll probably talk about this tomorrow. Unless you guys may have hit it on SEC Football Beyond. I don't know. Some new opening college football win totals out.
No, we didn't.
So we'll hit these tomorrow. We'll tease a couple, and then we'll go from there. Ole Miss at 7.5 in Vegas for its win total for the 2021 season.
We did talk about Ole Miss. I think 7.5 is the right number.
Yeah, 7.5 is what they have for the Rebels. Just kind of skimming. We'll hit some SEC teams again. We'll go with a lot more detail about it tomorrow. We have time. LSU 8.5 on here. Let's see. Florida at 9. Arkansas at 5.5. Georgia at 10.5. It's a big number. Vanderbilt at 3. A&M at 9.5. State at 5.5. Auburn at 7. Tennessee at 6. Kentucky at 6.5. Alabama at 11.5. Those are the ones I see off the top of my head. 11.5. They lose or they don't. That is your decision for Alabama there at that point.
The fact that the line is 11.5 and you kind of go, I think about over.
Oh yeah, I'm not. Under scares me.
Yeah.
I don't go under. I leave it alone or I go over.
Yeah, I'm not betting against them.
Yeah, no, the hell with it.
Well, they just don't lose.
I mean, I saw some early lines come out. I think Ole Miss was a 22-point underdog to Alabama on an early line.
Yeah,
yesterday.
that was the early line. Yeah.
Ole Miss favored 6 or 8 against Louisville. They were up around a touchdown in that.
I think it was 8 against Louisville. It's a 6-point dog at Auburn. A pick against LSU. 11 against Liberty, I think, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
And then 7 against Mississippi State. If you have the intestinal fortitude to bet a game that's 6 months and 11 games away.
Feel free.
If you do, man, go for it.
If you have a hunch,
I mean,
God
bless you.
Yeah. So
I'd have so many questions for the football gods before I'd fire that off.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget, we're also brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. They've been with us for more than 3 years. We've always told you if you're coming to Oxford to go see the people at Blue Delta Jeans. But now you don't have to do that. Just hop in their DMs and or go to BlueDeltaJeans.com and go to their virtual tailor, and you can create your very own pair of Blue Delta jeans. One size fits one at Blue Delta Jeans. Based right out of Tupelo. They've been with us for a long time. It's the most comfortable pair of jeans I own. You'll feel the same way when you get yours. Again, BlueDeltaJeans.com.
So we will talk more college football tomorrow and whatever else comes up prior to that. So appreciate everybody in the live stream for finally talking back to us. That was going to be kind of boring if you didn't. And everybody listens in podcast form as well. So have a good day. Be safe. Talk to you tomorrow.